Right. So I'm just going to take you very briefly over the operational challenges that we face at the Water Authority of Fiji. Pretty sure if you live in the Suva-Nausori system, you would have heard some of our, heard or seen some of our releases where we mention turbidity. When we say turbidity, this is what we mean. It's really dirty water. And in some of our previous media releases, we've spoken about catchment management. If I take you very briefly through the Tamavo system, Tamavo draws its water from the Waimanu River, but what we don't have is control of what is actually done upstream of the pump station itself. We have communities upstream, we have villages, we have farms, and the practices they do affects the quality of water we get. And at a certain point, the Tamavo water treatment plant will not be able to actually treat all of the dirt that's coming through the water. And that is when we put out the notice that production is affected. We have very high turbidity, and the reservoir levels have gone down. Our biggest challenge is we currently don't have capacity to actually tell when this turbidity is going to hit our raw water intake. And that is something we're working on. Now we're currently working with the University of New South Wales, developing hydrology models for the Waimanu catchment, where we would be able to determine when would this very dirty water actually get to our pump station, so we can make adjustments in the treatment plant. What we want is we change chemical dosing, we make adjustments within the treatment plant before the dirty water gets there, turbid water. We can't do that once the water is already in the treatment plant. By that time it's basically too late. Filters get clogged, everything backs up, and then production drops immediately. And as mentioned by my colleague, the Suva-Nausori system in terms of demand, we are producing 3 million liters less than what is actually demanded by the greater Suva-Nausori community. And that is happening during our peak periods. When I say peak periods, these are on the hottest days. Hot days, we notice that our reservoir level, it drops very, very quickly. There's a lot more people that's using water. The normal sequence of waking up in the morning, taking a bath, people take actually longer showers when the weather is hot in the morning, when it is very humid. So that actually affects the volume of water that we produce versus what is being demanded. Yeah? So the shortage is what's actually causing a lot of the disruption. And because of that, we're having to do some of the things that we're currently doing, which is valve operations. Valve operations, we do it in the evening, we throttle in the evening, and then we open up in the morning. For us, it's we have to pick what we want to do. Do we want to leave the system open in the evening so people still get water throughout the night, or we want to produce water supply in the morning? For us, if we do not throttle in the evening, there's going to be absolutely no water to anybody the next day. We have to do it. But once the water supply is commissioned, that actually gives us some 26 million liters of water spare at water treatment plant, which we then can push into the system of the major Suva system. If we don't do valve operation, we do get calls from frustrated customers, and it's very clear to us why they're frustrated. There's no water at home. In the evening, and they're asking us to open up, and we can't do that. If we open up, there's a lot more people that's going to be out of water in the morning. We have to do valve operation in the evening, and we have to reverse it in the morning. And that's going to be the practice until we is fully commissioned and we've reset the entire Suva-Nausori system. I just want to bring your attention to that graph that we see over here. This is basically the flow gauging we have for the Waimanu River. The blue bars is the average flow for that particular river. And we've had 3 years of monitoring we wanted to put as part of the example. In the month of November last year, if you go back towards our releases, we're starting to say that due to issues of insufficient pumping from our raw water mains, we are unable to produce more water. And this is the reason why. If you see this gray line here, the volume of water that is actually coming through Waimanu River has dropped below average. And once that's dropped below average, the river level drops. We can't pump more than what the river can give us. So that's one of our main challenges. And that's part of the program that we're currently doing. Video will also help curb that. At the moment, while our water treatment plant treats about 107 million liters a day, and what is consumed by what is pumped into the system is around 105 million liters a day. But right now we're pumping both into the Suva system, and then we're pumping into Nausori. Once Virea comes online, we no longer need to pump into Nausori. It's 26 megaliters, which we can either store at the treatment plant, store at the reservoir, or push out to customers, which would help in terms of retaining reservoir levels, increasing pressures to customers, reducing valve operations, which is the key thing. Valve operations either puts people out of water, low pressure, or intermittent supply. And that normally happens in the evening. Our customers in Vudi Road, along Nausori, that area, down towards Nakelo, the Vuilevu housing, Nakasi, Neapani, these customers, they complain, and they complain because we are operating in the evening. We have to operate. Unfortunately for us, we have to operate. If we don't operate, there's no water to actually deliver to the customer in the morning. And these are just some pictures. Our infrastructure is also susceptible to varying weather conditions. We are starting to notice that the rain event is shorter, but very intense. Just over the last few weeks, we've noticed the intensity of the rain just keeps going up and up and up. It could be 3 hours, but it's 3 hours of very intense rain. Before it used to be a little bit longer, but the rainfall intensity was sort of manageable. But we're noticing the intensity is going up, and when intensity goes up, our intake gets flooded. And when the intake gets blocked, we have to send our divers in. We unfortunately can send somebody into the intake to clear it when it's in that condition. It's very unsafe. If you put somebody here, they get thrown over the weir. There's nothing but rocks, sub rocks at the bottom. They get hit, they either get severely injured or they will die. So we have to wait. And at that point, treatment plant reservoir level is dropping, production is dropping. So that's our challenge that we're facing at the moment. And we are looking at other avenues of actually doing this. Better access for our divers, where they can actually access these locations in a very safe environment, even though it's flooded. So we're putting together designs, actually putting in infrastructure to make sure that we have that resiliency moving into the future. Non-revenue water, this is our biggest challenge at the Water Authority of Fiji. We produce for every 100%, right now we are losing about 46%. We can't bill anybody. It's lost through leakages, leaking service pipes, burst mains, and also we're losing it through theft. We have people that illegally connect to our system. Unfortunately, time and again, some of our customers, they open up the hydrant, hot weather, open the hydrant to take a shower. That is it's nice to shower with the hydrant. It's nice and cool, but it's a negative for us because it drains the reservoir level. And we have come across a lot of these challenges where customers, they will open up our hydrants. And we ask customers not to do it because when they do that, somebody's going to run out of water. And and it takes time for the reservoir levels to drop it. And now non-revenue water is one of our major challenges, and is also our major focus into the coming 3 to 5 years. Non-revenue water. Best utilities in the world, non-revenue water is below 20%. The Japanese are the best at it, 2% and below. We're currently working with Fukuoka City, who is one of the best water utilities in the country. NRW level, less than 2%. But for them, were they able to actually achieve that is because they changed the entire pipeline. For us, we can't do that because we can only work with the amount of money we get. For context, we're currently doing some studies in the West on to see our wastewater reticulation for the Western region, for all our major Western region centers. And when we calculated the cost to do all of the Western region just for wastewater alone, it's going to cost us about $4 billion. It's a significant number. From that $4 billion, 900 million alone is just to build the treatment plants, and another 3 billion and change to put in the network. If we were to replace the entire pipeline of Suva-Nausori, that's a significant cost. It's very expensive, so we have to look at asset management through programs that is coming through NRW, which is PRV, where we install infrastructure that will reduce the number of bursts, reduce the number of leakages. The planned replacement works of our pipelines. Some of our pipelines are over 50 years old, that are still in operation. We will need to replace this. And when we say replacement, we're not just talking about replacing what's there. I don't know if any of you remember, in March 2021, there was a burst main on our inlet to Wanibuku Reservoir. When we say replacement, we're talking about replacing what's there putting in redundancy. When something goes, something else has to take its place. At the moment, redundancy is also a challenge for us. We don't have a lot of redundancies in the system. And the reason why we don't have redundancies is the cost factor that's attached to it. Because we put it in, and then it stays dormant. Until we need to use it, then we'll use it. Right now, we're trying to replace our infrastructure. That is where most of our focus is on. And then we will progressively put in our redundancy program as we progress. Just looking at the data that you have over here, at global benchmark. The global benchmark is for every 100 kilometers of pipeline, there should be about 13 bursts. Water Authority of Fiji, we have around 200 bursts for the same 100 kilometers of pipeline. The number of faults in Fiji is significantly higher than what it is for international benchmarks. And that's attributed to the age of the asset and the condition that is in. So we basically, and for our leaking service pipe, should be 3 leaks for every 100 kilometers, we have 300. So basically what this tells us is the faults are happening a lot faster than we can actually get to them. Which means that we have to look at other avenues of actually rectifying these issues. That is why we're exploring outsourcing of certain internal mechanisms to improve productivity, where we increase the number of faults we can actually attend to on a daily basis. This program is coming up. We'll be outsourcing this for some of our internal local contractors to actually take up certain arms of the business to rectify or improve our productivity level, so we can actually come up to par with, at least come up to par with the number of faults that's happening on a daily basis. We also have a critical need for better asset management. Asset management, basically keeping a track on all of our assets. How long has it been in service for? When was it installed? How long has it been in service for? Have we done all the servicing? When does it need to be replaced? So just go back to the next. What the graph that you see on the side there is the leaking service pipe and burst main we get every year since 2015. And you can see our leaking service pipe can go as high as 13,000 in a year. That's the number of faults that we get, and the team having to attend to all of this. One of our major challenges as well is environmental compliance. This is an important one for us, mainly in the space of wastewater. What we are discharging into the environment is a critical area of concern for us. We're working very closely with the Department of Environment to try and make sure that our infrastructure actually comes up to par in terms of what we are producing and actually putting out into the environment. But the challenges that we currently face, it's not restricted to infrastructure that we currently have. It is also tied up to some of the behaviors that some of our customers basically display. We've had, there are certain things that you cannot dispose into a wastewater system. Things like clothes, shoes, cones. We find all manner of items in our wastewater system. And then this causes blockages, not only at our manholes, but also at our pump stations. And this overflows. When raw wastewater gets into the environment, it is toxic. It is very dangerous. What a lot of people don't understand is what they throw into the pump station, they throw into the manhole, is actually a negative for us. And it's a negative for the environment. And you will note that a lot of our pump stations is located close to waterways, because those are normally the lowest end in a system. So when this overflows, it will go into the environment. So, every now and then we put out notices to customers to please stop dumping things into the wastewater. We've had instances where people open up the manhole and dump FRA cones inside. And that's a norm. It's a norm, and it's something that we've come to accept. That we have to continue with awareness and hope that customers stop dumping things that's not supposed to be dumped in. We're also looking at our trade waste management, meaning the industries and the commercial businesses. The manner of the waste, the quality of wastewater they dump into the system is very important. That has to be pre-treated before it gets to us. Because our treatment plants are only meant to treat certain quality of wastewater. If they don't treat, it affects the processes, the natural processes. That is why sometimes you drive past Kinoya, smell that odor. And that's not just because the plant is not working properly. It's because of the quality of the wastewater that is actually coming in. The odor is on the inlet of the treatment plant itself. Before it gets to us, the process has been disturbed because we've got a pump station that's not running, meaning that's longer retention times. So the natural processes of breaking down the wastewater is not adhering to what it's supposed to adhere to. It's estimated investment of 10 billion is needed if Fiji was to meet the SDG 6 sanitation targets. It's a sizable investment, and it's going to be a multiple year investment. So very briefly, this is our capex requirement over the next 5 years to recoup or recover our systems. This is our tentative programs over the next 5 years and the cost that is attached to it. Our focus on water, wastewater, rural, NRW, and other work such as mechanical, electrical facilities. And as an organization, this is our strategic priorities. We have 8. The 8 strategic priorities are listed down here. Our number 1 priority is non-revenue water. The biggest challenge we have is non-revenue water. If we reduce our non-revenue water, we can save a significant amount of money and a significant amount of storage or reservoirs. To put that into context, non-revenue water at the current level costs the Water Authority of Fiji $23 million. So if we reduce NRW, we'll be able to save that money. And that $23 million is production cost only. That's to treat at the treatment plant. It doesn't involve the cost of actually transporting that to the customer's meter or the customer's tank. And just this is one of the programs we're currently working on. The water sector strategy is a long-term plan for the water sector. As alluded to by my colleague, water is in the heart of a lot of the things that a nation like Fiji requires in order to improve on the economic front. We're currently working with some of our colleagues out of Scotland to basically providing guidance on how we go about developing the water sector strategy. This will also involve talking to other utilities such as FRA, EFL, Department of Mineral Resource Department. Basically talking to all of these stakeholders so we can put together a plan that will take us forward into the year 2050 to see how what the economy will look like in 2050 and what do we need to do from now in order to actually meet what the economy is looking like in Fiji in the year 2050. Very briefly, ladies and gentlemen, that's the presentation we have for you today.